Why do people say yes but don't buy? The real lesson of the mom test. It is quite late at night. A founder is sitting in front of his laptop. His prototype is open on the screen. Notebooks are scattered around, and only one thought is circling in his mind. The idea is brilliant. Then why do I still feel scared inside? He showed it to his friends, and everyone said, amazing. His family said, this will definitely work. Some people even said, if a product like this comes to the market, it will change the game. But the real fear begins right here. Because in the world of business, praise comes very easily, truth comes very rarely. And the curiosity is this: if people do not tell the truth, then how is an entrepreneur supposed to know whether his idea will really work or whether people have just nodded politely? This is where a lesson begins that can be a game changer for any new founder, product builder, salesperson, or anyone thinking about a startup. That lesson is the mom test. The author of this book is Rob Fitzpatrick, who has been an entrepreneur, startup advisor, and investor. According to his official author profile, he worked on bootstrapped as well as VC-backed companies, raised funding, and emphasized drawing the right learning from customer conversations. The central idea of his book is also exactly this. When people give you polite lies, how do you get the truth out of them? What is the first step of a successful business? Many people will say, a brilliant idea. Some will say, passion. Some will say, timing. And some will say, the courage to take risks. All of these are important in their own place, but the real difficulty lies somewhere else. The difficulty is not in thinking of an idea. The difficulty is in knowing whether the idea that feels very powerful in your mind actually solves a genuine problem for someone in the real world or not. This is the place where most entrepreneurs get trapped. They fall in love with the idea, but drift away from the customer's reality. Very often, entrepreneurship begins with excitement. One day, you come across some concept. You think, if this gets built, people will grab it with both hands. Then you start imagining the future. What the app will look like, what the logo will be, what the pricing will be, how the launch will happen. Slowly, you get so close to your product that you build an emotional connection with it. And that very connection sometimes becomes the biggest trap. Because the moment you turn your idea into your identity, that same moment it becomes difficult for you to stay neutral. This is where the mom test says something very simple but very deep. Good business ideas do not come from imagination, they come from reality. A good idea is not the one that sounds cool. A good idea is the one that solves a real problem of a real person. And that problem should be important enough that people are willing to give time, attention, change their behavior, or pay money for it. This means that business should begin not with the product, but with the problem. That means if you want to start a business, your first question should not be, what should I build? Your first question should be, what problem are people struggling with? The second question should be, how are they handling this problem right now? And the third question should be, where is the pain in the current solution? Because that is where the market gap is hidden. That is the place where your business can be born. Most founders make their most common mistake right here. They directly ask for feedback on their idea. They ask, if I build an app like this, would you use it? Or, how did you like this concept? It sounds smart, but in reality, it is dangerous. Because a question like this forces the other person to be polite instead of truthful. A person naturally does not want to hurt someone's feelings, especially when the other person is excited. He does not want to discourage you. So he says, yes, it's good. But business does not run on its good. Business runs on the pain that the customer is feeling today. That is why this approach is called the mom test. The logic is very simple. If you can ask your mother about your business idea in such a way that she cannot give you false praise, only then is your question correct. Because your mother will not want to hurt you. She will support you. She will not want to shake your confidence. So if your question itself is such that it is difficult to get an honest answer from it, then the problem is not in the customer, but in the question. The official positioning of this book also says exactly this, that it is a practical handbook for getting more learning and more sales from customer conversations, especially when everyone is lying to you. That line captures the whole philosophy of the book. People do not always lie with bad intentions. Many times, they just want to look helpful. Many times, they themselves do not know what they want. And many times, they say one thing about the future, but behave in a completely different way. Think about it. You ask someone, would you use an app like this that makes your daily planning easier? The other person may say, yes, absolutely. But what is the value of that answer? Almost zero. Because he has not made any commitment yet. He has not told you his current behavior. He has not said what pain he is struggling with today. He has also not told you what he is doing right now to solve this problem. That means you have collected excitement, not insight. Now ask the same thing in a different way. How do you manage your daily planning right now? When was the last time your plan got messed up? What was the most frustrating thing in that situation? What have you tried to solve that problem? Now the conversation starts becoming useful. Now the other person is talking about his behavior, about his past, about his friction. And this is where the entrepreneur gets gold. One very important principle has to be understood here. People make poor predictions about their future. But when they talk about their past behavior, they are often much closer to the truth. If someone says, yes, if an app like this comes, I will use it, that is imagination. But if that same person says, last week I updated an Excel sheet 3 times, and even then the data got messed up, that is reality. Business is built on reality, not on imagination. And that is why the second common mistake entrepreneurs make is collecting opinions, not evidence. They get surveys filled out, hold meetings, hear praise, and then assume that the market is validated. Whereas the real meaning of validation is, does the other person consider this problem serious? Has he already made an effort to solve it? Is he troubled by the current solution? Because of this pain, is his time, money, status, stress, or growth getting affected? If the answers to these questions are not strong, then your opportunity is not strong either. The MOM test teaches exactly this. That customer learning is not random conversation. It is a disciplined skill. You have to ask the right questions. But before that, you have to bring the right mindset. You do not need to prove your idea. You need to test it. You do not need approval. You need truth. You do not need compliments. You need contradiction. Because a compliment will make you feel good, but contradiction will help you build a better product. To explain this point, the book presents a simple but memorable situation. A son gets an app idea. He is excited. He goes to his mother. He explains the idea. Then he asks, "Would you use this app?" The mother immediately says, "Yes, absolutely. It is a very good idea." At first glance, the founder may feel happy. He may think, "Look, I got user validation." But in reality, he got nothing valuable. His mother did not verify the app's market fit. She only gave emotional support. Now the same son changes his approach. He stops pitching the idea. He starts understanding the problem. He asks, "What things do you struggle with while using the iPad? Do you have difficulty managing photos? Do you have trouble finding apps? What task feels irritating again and again?" Now the mother gives real answers. Now she does not have to support him. She only has to talk about her experience. Now, for the first time, the founder realizes that his mother may not need his original app at all. Her real problem is something else, making device management simple. This is where an entrepreneur becomes mature. He understands that the customer will not give you product design. The customer will give you pain, context, and struggle. The solution is your job. Very often founders ask, "What should your ideal app look like? Which features do you want? What if we add this?" But the customer is not sitting there to give you a feature list. And the truth is, most people cannot even clearly define their ideal solution in words. They only know what is troubling them today. Your job is to see the pattern in that trouble. That is why the third common mistake is asking the customer for the solution. Whereas the entrepreneur should understand the problem, priority, and behavior from the customer. If you let someone say, "I want an app that has these features," then perhaps he will give you a wish list, not a workable business opportunity. But if you understand what his biggest frustration is, what workaround he is living with right now, and at which point his patience breaks, then you can build a solution for him that he himself had not even imagined. The fourth mistake is treating every positive response as a signal. Some people seem interested in conversation, some look enthusiastic, some say, "Let me know when you launch." But there is a world of difference between interest and intent. Saying good idea about something is free. Adopting it is costly. The real signal is whether the customer has already put effort into this problem. Has he spent money on it? Has he built a workaround? Has he invested time in it? If yes, then the pain is real. If not, then perhaps the problem is not as strong as you think. The fifth mistake is turning the conversation into a pitching session. The founder goes there not to learn from the other person, but to convince him. He explains, defends, shows enthusiasm, cuts objections, and then he thinks he had a good meeting. But what he got was not truth, it was reaction. When you pitch to the other person, you change his natural response system. Now, he is not a user, he becomes an audience. And audiences very often clap out of politeness. One major lesson of the MOM test is also this, that useful feedback is often uncomfortable. If every conversation is making you feel highly motivated, be suspicious. Maybe you have not heard the truth, because truth can be confusing, painful, and many times it can break your favorite idea. But that is where a better business is born. A founder's job is not to protect his ego, but to catch reality. This approach is not powerful only for startup founders, but also for salespeople and product developers. If a salesperson pitches the product without understanding the customer's current pain, he will get trapped in surface-level conversation. If a product developer builds features without understanding user behavior, he will build shiny things, not useful ones. And if an entrepreneur executes without listening to the truth of the market, he may work very hard, but the direction may be wrong. Rob Fitzpatrick's book is considered practical because it emphasizes hands-on customer conversations more than theory. How to avoid biased feedback, how to ask the right questions, and how to understand whether the other person is just talking or will actually buy. That is why this book has long been widely recommended in the startup world. So if the entire lesson of this first part has to be understood in one line, it is this. Do not fall in love with your business idea. Fall in love with the customer's problem. Is my idea good? Is the wrong question. What problem are people struggling with right now, and how are they solving it? Is the right question. Collecting approval is easy. Collecting insight is difficult. But the founder who understands this difference is the one who reduces risk, builds a better product, and truly starts reading the market. Now pause for a moment, because the story has only just begun. Asking the right questions sounds easy, but the real challenge comes when you go into real conversations. What questions should be asked? Which questions must be avoided at all costs? When is the other person giving a useful signal, and when is he just trying to make you happy? The curtain will lift from here in the next part, and perhaps for the first time you will understand that even a simple conversation can change the future of a business. If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible. But in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.